I'm Kevin McCusker, and this is Giant Talk. Today's guest, Stephanie Collier, is Dean of Student Services here at the college. Stephanie, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. Good to be here.
There's a fairly simple question. What should a high school student, a high school senior, be doing right now to get ready for college?
Well, the first thing I think they need to do is they need to have a serious discussion with their family and their high school counselor about what their goals are after high school so that they can determine if a CSU or UC is the right path or if a community college is a better path for them. Community college is always a great option because it has transfer options, but it also has your career technical options, and so it gives the students a lot of variety at a community college. One of the things that I would really recommend that they do, especially if they're coming to COS, is to talk to one of our outreach team members. We have outreach team members coming to their high schools probably 4 or 5 times during the year. We're always happy to answer questions about any of the steps that they should be taking, making sure that they're doing things timely. And so I would really recommend talking to an outreach team member. It's always great to go visit a campus. We offer tours at COS. You know, it might seem like it's just the college down the road, but it's a college and there's a lot to offer, and it's good to take a tour. And so I would really recommend getting a tour. Bring your mom or dad along and see what we have to offer at COS. And then the other thing I just say is, you know, investigate what you want to do. You know, you are the captain of your own higher education ship, and drive it. Don't let, you know, have that conversation, but know what you want to do, and don't be afraid to follow your dreams with that.
And now you mentioned that tours are available.
Yes.
So just to follow up on that for a second, is that something, if I were a parent or a prospective student, I contact the COS Welcome Center? Is that where I'd set that up?
If you call or come by the COS Welcome Center, our outreach technician, Catherine McGuire, is happy to set up tours. She'll either guide it or have a student leader guide it. So, yeah, that's a good way to do it.
And I always tell people that the Welcome Center is a great place to get started when you don't even know what questions you want to ask about college.
It's the best place to get started, and it's the easiest place to find because it has the orange door and the Sequoia building on the Visalia campus.
That's right. So some of these steps that you talked about how you should get prepared for college if you're a high school senior, is there a sequence to those steps? Like, what should you be doing in fall as opposed to what you should be doing in spring? Is there a sequence to that?
Yeah, there is absolutely a sequence and you want to follow it, because if you get out of order, it might goof you up. So the very first thing you should be doing in the fall is you should be filling out a COS application. Our applications for our spring semester, along with our fall summer semester, opened on September 8th. And so you can go on there, it's free, you just create an account and you fill out an application. That should always be your first step. The next thing you should do is, again, you can either wait till our team comes to your campus, or you can come onto our campus and ask about this. But in the spring semester, you should be filling out your FAFSA application. And the FAFSA is I wrote it down, the free application for federal student aid. Mm-hmm. And so it's a free application. Even if you don't think you'll qualify for financial aid, fill it out because you just never know. It's also the place where you can check if you would like to do work study, which is something we offer here on our campus. So that's in the spring. It's kind of early in the spring. Then later in the spring, you should be taking your placement test. This is so you can know what level of math, English you should be placing into. And again, we have our placement coordinator come to your campus, but you can always come to one of the 3 campuses if you'd like to just take it on your own. You just need a picture ID if you come to one of our campuses. So that's kind of mid-spring. And then on April 16th and 18th, those are the dates of our STEPS program. And STEPS is a way for you to come onto campus. We offer it at all 3 campuses, Visalia, Tulare, and Hanford. Mm-hmm. And it steps you through the process for actually picking your classes. And then you also just get a lot of other information, and so it gives you priority registration ahead of a counselor. And I missed something. I've got to go back a little bit. Before April 16th and 18th, you've got to make sure to see a counselor. So you do your placement test, you see a counselor, then you come to our STEPS program. See, I already goofed up the steps.
That's all right. But we've got that.
Yes.
It's placement test,
counseling,
counselor, STEPS.
and then STEPS. Yeah.
And STEPS is important because one of the best things about it is it gives you priority placement. You get a chance to choose your classes ahead of some of your fellow incoming freshmen who don't take advantage of that, and that could be key.
It could be key because some of our classes that are really
high demand.
high demand, they fill up fast. And by coming to steps on April 16th or 18th, I'm going to get it right, you you get priority ahead of the other high school students who don't take advantage of all of these, what we call matriculation steps.
Great. So when you see incoming freshmen or high school students coming in, what are some of the obstacles they face or mistakes, common mistakes they're making that possibly are making it more difficult on themselves than it really needs to be?
One of the most common mistakes is that, like I just did, they don't follow the steps properly. They don't go see that counselor. They don't take the placement test. And so it's really important to make sure that you do all of the sequence of steps in the correct order. The great thing about our outreach team is that when they come, they're going to give you a registration checklist, and if you follow that in the right order, you're going to be golden.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I see a lot of is, and I taught math for 15 years, so I know that this is true, a lot of students take that placement test and they don't take it seriously. And I'm not sure why, but they don't. And that's really a bad move, because if you don't place into the proper level of math or English, one, you're going to take a lot longer to get through the sequences of classes, and that just delays you getting to your goal. Two, it can prevent you from taking other classes outside of math or English. If you place in too low of an English class, then you can't take certain social science classes. And if you place in too low of a math, then it prevents you from taking certain science courses. And again, depending on your goal, you might need to take a lot of science courses or social science courses, and it just delays you. So I always recommend take it seriously, and go in there and be prepared. And we actually have prep things that we can give you to help you to determine, like, oh, this is what types of questions are on the test. So ask for those. Again, I think the outreach team will be bringing that information, or call our assessment office, and they'll be happy to hook you up with some links.
Yeah, and then you can bone up a little bit. It's not necessarily studying for, but at least you can prep a little bit.
Absolutely.
And nobody wants to stay, wants to take longer to finish, to complete their goals than necessary. Or even if you might not have an interest in math per se, but it could affect your placement in a science class.
Correct.
Or you want to study history, but you didn't do well on English because you didn't take it seriously. It's going to set you back in your pursuit of your goal.
Absolutely. And a lot of times too is that if you are in a class that you really should be in a higher level, you might get bored, and then you might not do as well, and then that starts to affect your GPA, because even if you could have got an easy A, you don't come to class because you're bored. So take those classes that are the appropriate level, and you'll be much better off.
Well, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit here because we're running a little bit short on time. So, right, there's a thing that people refer to as an elevator speech.
Yes.
Right, to kind of summarize, hit the high points. So let's say you're in an elevator with a parent of a high school senior today. What would be your elevator speech to that parent about what they need to be aware of what the options that are out there for their student, and how they can help their student make sure that he or she is doing the right things to get ready for college?
So the first thing is to take advantage of all the opportunities that we give ahead of the student entering college. So meeting with staff and counselors. Ask lots of questions, get brochures on information, because that way you're learning about the college ahead of time, and that'll just help you be more successful. And then once a student gets here, probably the key thing for a student to be successful is making a connection with somebody on campus, whether it's a staff person, whether it's a faculty member, whether it's another student. And a lot of places that you can do that is by taking advantage of things such as our first year experience program, our EOPS experience, or our Puente. We have a lot of others too, but those are just some that if your student can connect with a program like that, they're going to be much more successful than if they're trying to navigate all the waters on their own.
Great, and a lot of that information is available, cos.edu. You can also call our Welcome Center, which is located on the Visalia campus, or stop by and see the folks at the Welcome Center.
Yep.
So Stephanie, thanks for coming.
Thanks
I'm
for
Kevin
having me.
McCusker. This has been Giant Talk, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.